Good morning and welcome to Wall Street Today. I'm your host, Zach Viskomi, and joining me is a very special guest, Mike Heckman. Mike is a certified financial planner, a certified exit strategist. He is just really a great guy in the financial services space, and I'm really excited to bring his story to you today. Mike, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about what exactly it is that you do and how you serve your clients.
Yeah, so we help business owners, medical professionals, and retirees maximize their impact. Whether it's helping them efficiently grow their assets or turning that into income so that they can live on, support their families, and then eventually turn into inheritance.
Yeah, and so when you're working with people like this, I imagine as business owners and medical professionals and stuff, you're running into some pretty particular objections or different opportunities that they have that's different than a regular retiree. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you actually serve your clients?
Yeah, so with the business owners, so many of them have so much of their assets that's wrapped into their business. So they're so good at their craft, they're so good at, taking care of their people and their passion, but then when it comes time to, hey, I need to move on to that next step, it's not as easy to turn a retirement plan into income as it is to monetize your business in the best way possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine, having an exit strategy is something that a lot of times those entrepreneurs aren't thinking about at the beginning. There's a lot to navigate there. That's really what you help them do.
Yeah, that's a big part of what we do, is absolutely helping them retire from their businesses and then doing it the right way, so that they're taking care of their employees, how important that is, so the footprint is lasting.
Yeah, and so tell me a little bit about kind of your mission behind all of this. I mean, what got you into the business and why are you so passionate about it?
When I got into the business, I think my two big motivators was my dad and my grandpa. When I was 19 years old, my dad died and he had no estate plan. And I had to handle that and fight through that. And then so when I saw the opportunity to be a financial advisor, I saw a way to help people the way that I needed at the time, because I had so much good advice I didn't take. I had so much bad advice that I did. I messed up everything from the obituary to the life insurance. So now I'm able to help that. And then my grandpa, who was such a huge influence on me, my Sobel Point Wealth Management is named after a lighthouse that he grew up in. So my great grandpa was a lighthouse keeper. That's a blatant focal point. He was an employee, and then he didn't like being an employee, and he went to business for himself as an auto mechanic with another bright guy. So I watched two bright guys run a business that now I saw the mistakes that they made. That's a big thing, is I want to help out guys like Grandpa do better with their business.
That's really cool. I mean, you had two experiences there. I mean, obviously one really difficult with your dad passing away so young and having to, be thrown into the mix of having to handle his finances in the estate and everything that comes afterwards. And I can't imagine just what that was like. And obviously you shared on it, but now you're in a unique position to really be able to help people not put their families through that similar experience.
Absolutely. Just give them what they need to hear at the time and get them through it.
I imagine you have a process for how you kind of work with people through this. Tell me a little bit of if I were to be a business owner, of what that process is that you take me through.
I grew up reading books. Big thing for my grandpa too is, passing down the novels. So when I think of financial planning and business exit planning, I think of it almost like a book. Except for I want to know what the happy ending is at the end. So let's go back, and then what's that last story like? And then let's map out where we're at, make it, real obvious where things are at, and then help go through the process. So it's systematic, but you have to do it differently for each person.
That's really cool. I love what you're doing, and we really enjoy working with people and talking with people like yourself who are out there just wanting to make a bigger impact in the lives of those that are around them, and that's what you get to do in your market with these business owners.
I really feel like that's why we're here, is by helping the people we help make a bigger impact. Then we're making that bigger impact, and then so the footprint that you leave is just so much better.
You were telling me a really interesting story about a client that you had been working with. Can you tell me a little bit more about this story that you were sharing with me?
Yeah, so one of the things that I really like about what I do is because of our process, sometimes you get the unexpected nuggets of help. So Joe, who I've been thinking about, and even with his permission, wrote about him a little bit here lately. So he was somebody that had an urgent meeting. He wanted to get with me on a week that I had a busy schedule. So I'm like, hey, let's do, I'll come in early, tomorrow, and we'll make something. He's so fast. And he's like, I can't do mornings ever. I'm like, well, Joe, what's up with that? With his system, he had a construction company, and then so his job in the mornings was to set up for everybody as they're doing their stuff. And as I just start interrupting a little bit about, this, he's like, I can't even take my daughter to school. And I'm like, wow, I pull out my notepad and I'm like, so what is it you do in the morning? And he starts going through, just da-da-da-da. So I'm kind of just like listening, and then at the end, I repeat it back to him, and I'm like, do you have somebody that you could trust with some of this stuff? So he was a good leader, has a good business, but the delegation and the standard operating procedures was something that was kind of new. And then so his first SOP wasn't like some big human resources manual written by 3 lawyers. It was a half of a notebook paper and just learning to let go of that. And so now Joe gets to take his daughter to school every day.
That's really cool. So in that story, really, what you're talking about is how you go above and beyond in serving your clients, right? Because that had really nothing to do with financial planning or services, but because you care so passionately about what they're doing in their lives, it's like you were able to help in that little way to make such a greater impact on him being able to take his daughter to school. I mean, that's so cool.
And that connection is like the best part. I mean, that's the charge, right? Yeah.
If somebody was wanting to get in contact with you or reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to find you and find out more about what you do?
So we have our SaublePointWealthManagement.com website. We just launched a podcast, which you can link to like with thewealthdoc.com. And then I've got a team that's happy to onboard conversations at our main office is 231-425-4308. So 231-425-4308 in case somebody's writing it down.
It's always good to give it twice.
Right, there you go.
We ask everybody this question: what is your best piece of advice for our viewers today, and that could really help them thrive in today's economy?
It's hard not to think about leveraging technology. When I went independent in 2019, one of the big draws was the acceleration and the way to embrace like AI and those technologies to better serve our people. And I think a lot of the businesses, even if they don't jump into the technology bandwagons, they should at least be aware of it, because your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If you're not seeing that as like a threat or an opportunity, then it's time to pay attention.
Yeah, well, that's really great, Mike, and I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And thanks so much for being out there helping business owners and medical professionals, really find their way and leave a lasting legacy for their families.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, and thank all of you for joining us today on another edition of Wall Street Today. Stay tuned for our next interview.